there was this news that Microsoft is going to acquire GitHub, there were a lot of concerns. Suddenly people felt, open source is going to be stifled and it's going to be constrained. And wow, Microsoft is acquiring GitHub, and this is going to be like, this is going to change the open source dynamics quite a bit. But interestingly, even today, we see a lot of Microsoft competitors confidently putting up their open source repos, and some of the largest projects collaboratively are run on GitHub, which are coming from Microsoft competitors. So what are your thoughts? What gives them that confidence that despite being a Microsoft asset, running their successful, large, collaborative open source projects on GitHub?
I think there's a few things. And again, I'll give Satya credit here. I really do think he is one of the best, if not the best, business leader of our time. And I think the transformation that Microsoft has gone both culturally and embracing open source, as well as just with cloud and now with AI, is truly remarkable and something that most people have not pulled off. And I'll say, Nat had a direct line to Satya throughout the acquisition discussions, and keeping GitHub as independent was a big part of that. And I think, one thing that helped a lot is if you looked at GitHub, we had something called our core 4 metrics. And I used to point out, even when I was hiring people, 2 of those metrics were entirely just related to platform growth and adoption, not revenue. And then another one was ARR, and another one was contribution margin, which is basically like profitability. And I think that's a really important statement. Like, hey, we are here to build a business, but it is just as important that we build the community. And I think, as with building any company culture, like aligning on these values and these priorities is really important, because then what happens is it shows up throughout all the decisions that you make. And I think that's how we built trust. It's not 1 or 2 things, right? It's how did we think about GitHub Actions, and how did we handle go-to-market on that, right? Is there a button that says deploy to Azure, but not one that says deploy to AWS? No, right? Like, these were discussions that we had all the time. It was very intentional. For example, when I did my first Universe keynote, which is GitHub's big global developer conference, I had Amazon on stage, not somebody from Microsoft, right? And so, like, we were very deliberate and thoughtful about the way that we told the GitHub story, the way that we made product decisions, the way that we sold. That really needs to permeate every aspect of the business. We had our own PR and comms team. We had our own voice, everything was like pretty well contained within GitHub. And I'll be honest with you, like, there were a lot of mini battles on that front constantly. Will we move over to Microsoft's security suite of tools? Will we move over to O365 from, the Google suite, which is what GitHub still uses today, as far as I know? We were still on Slack. We used Zoom, right? It was like a million little skirmishes along the border, kind of in constant defense. But I think, that's a normal thing to happen in the context of a big company with a lot of different divisions. Of course, everybody wanted us using their suite of products, but I think it's Satya's vision and support for GitHub as an independent player that let us operate the way that we did, and in turn build trust that would allow, competitors to continue to host code on their platform. Like, I think we did the right things, and we showed that we were going to keep the company independent, and we proved it over and over and over again in our decision making.